Chrissy, I just shared that to your page, so you'll be able to share that.
Awesome.
Share this again. Let's see. All right. We have 5 minutes before we go live. How are you doing this morning, Miss Chrissy? How are you?
I'm absolutely fantastic. How are you, Jill?
I am well. I'm so excited that you're joining me this morning.
I'm excited. I'm excited that thank you for inviting me, and I'm excited to share this information with your audience. So thanks so much.
Absolutely. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. So I'm going to just, we have a couple minutes. I like to go on early. We already have some folks that are joining us. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and share this a few more times with a couple more people. You can do the same as we get ready to go. Let's see. As we get ready to go live. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. And as you guys come on, if you could just say hello and tell us where you are viewing from, that would be great. Good morning, Johnny Mac. Good morning, Miss Ebony. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good to see you in the house this morning. We have 4 minutes. If you guys, while you're on, if you don't mind, sharing this video, we are going to be speaking to a dynamic and amazing powerhouse this morning. She's helping me kick off my series called Tales from the Top. And Tales from the Top. Boy, that's the title of a new book. Let me write that down.
You got to write that down. I don't know why it's not showing up on my timeline. Let me check it one more time.
I will share it with you again.
Just tag, or you tagged me in it already. Okay, let's get it. No, I have it. I see it. I'm just unable to. Facebook won't let me approve it for my timeline, but I just shared it.
Okay, that's weird.
Facebook be blocking.
Good morning, Kelly Wright. Good morning, Kelly from the D in the place to be. Oh, we got a couple minutes. Okay, so we're gonna be going live here shortly. In 2 minutes, we're going live. 3. So hold tight, you guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. If you don't mind, guys, if you don't mind, please sharing. So stand by to our listeners. We're going live here shortly. Oh, Johnny Mac's calling in from Dallas. Good morning, Dallas, Texas in the house. Good morning.
Yay, Johnny Mac. Actually, Johnny, how's the weather in Dallas? Hot. It is August.
Right. LaTrinda Love, good morning. Morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Lisa Williams, what's up? We're going live here just shortly, folks. We're just waiting on our radio show managers to give us the cue, and we will be ready to go.
Let's do it. Okay, they are showing the page. Okay, we're good. No, it's not.
Hey, everybody, thank you for joining in. Thank you for waiting. We're going to go live here in just 1 minute. We
I think
got
my hair is in. Okay, we're good.
You look beautiful.
So do you. Say that again.
You're such a professional. I know you do this every day. I know you and Good Morning America, you know. Yeah.
Like, wait a minute.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Rise Up Radio. We're here live on WQSW 100.5 FM, Northeast Indiana's only 24-hour gospel station, folks. It's your girl, Jill Jordan Green. I'm your host for this morning, and I am super excited because I have an outstanding guest in our virtual studio this morning. So welcome to Rise Up Radio. Now, if you've been following us, you've been part of our amazing career series. We have taken you on a journey. We started off a few months ago with a video series called Nail the Interview, and I got so many calls and questions on how can I nail that interview. Then we did a series on Nail the Video Interview because 85% of all employers are now using technology to start their hiring process. And then we did a series called The First 90 Days. I got the job, now what? And that went over really well. We did a series on boosting your brand and your business, family and career. Can she have it all? And now we're kicking off our brand new series called Tales from the Top. So if you were just joining us, welcome to Rise Up Radio on WQSW 100.5 FM, Northeast Indiana's only 24-hour gospel station. So I am super excited to kick this series off with a bad powerhouse. She is a bad mama jamma. I don't even think that's a word, but I just made it up because it definitely describes this dynamic, amazing woman. She is the president of Live Up Leadership, a leadership development training company, and she helps companies with creating a high-performing culture, which is very important. She has 16 years of active duty in the Coast Guard as an officer. She's a very high-achieving woman. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And she's a graduate of Harvard Business School. And she is the best-selling author of not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 books, ladies and gentlemen. She's a 5-time best-selling author, and I'm so honored to have her on the show this morning. Good morning, Christy Rutherford.
Good morning, Jill. Thanks for having me here, and good morning to everyone who has joined us.
Absolutely. Well, it is such a delight to have you on the show this morning to talk about Tales from the Top. You're my very first guest to kick off this series. And I want to say good morning to all of our Facebook listeners. We have some Facebook Live listeners that are on the stream this morning. So I'm going to say a quick good morning to Michelle and Lynette and Lanice and Latrinda. We got folks dialing in all over from all over the country, wanting to hear about Tales from the Top. Awesome. And so when I want to talk a little bit about how we met. Because I'm always, scouring and looking for amazing, powerful leaders. Mm-hmm. And I saw you on Facebook, and I saw someone congratulating you for your 5 best-selling books, graduated from Harvard Business School, being a top leader in the Coast Guard. I was like, wow, she's powerful, right? But then I heard you say something when you and I talked, and you said, Joe, champions don't tell.
Mm-mm.
And so I said, wait a minute. And so you began to tell your story. On paper, you are Superwoman. But Superwoman found herself in a super tight, super hot, super tough situation. And there was a season of your life when you said champions don't tell, but probably should have. So I would love for you to tell us your story.
Well, I'll get to the season because that was the juiciest part. But, you know, one of the things that goes along with achieving high levels of success, and as we work and ascend up the ladder of success and we do all these things and you look at your resume and it's impressive. But when somebody else reads your resume, you wonder, do they really know? That sounds good. My ego is full like this. That's me. I did that. But in the background, you're like, but I'm tired. You know?
That's what attracted me to you. I started watching your Facebook Live series that you're doing, which is really powerful, right? Because I'm like you. I saw your resume and said, Harvard Business School, 16 years Coast Guard, very decorated. This woman is amazing. 5 books and all bestsellers in 18 months, by the way, exclamation point. So
8 months. 8 months.
8 months. Excuse me. So that's so big. But then I'm listening to your Facebook Live series, and it's a different story.
Yeah.
There's pain in there, and I relate to that as a woman in corporate America who's achieved a little bit of success. That walk was lonely for me, and you talked about that walk. So talk to me about that season that led you to the Facebook series you're doing today.
Well, I had a great career, and I love what I did, but there were times where I was challenged. I was one of 50 Black female officers in my organization, and, you know, out of 47,000 people, so our demographic was 0.1%. And I've learned that, you know, I went in my 20s and worked hard, and I was always proving somebody wrong. People would tell me in my face, you don't belong here. And let me be clear, I'm not here to dog out my organization. I'm not, you know, I had a great career. They you know, allowed me to see the world, but I'm here to talk about what other people don't talk about because, you know, I've learned that women not only have challenges, you know, whether it's in the military, and we're humanitarians. So I worked in an office. So let's just, you know, corporate world and all these other organizations. But I just want to make that clear because some people are disappointed that I'm now sharing this information. And I'm like, I'm not sharing this information to talk about the organization. I'm talking about women. I'm talking about, you know, continually watching high power women and phenomenal women burn out. So I was a workaholic. I didn't manage my stress. I didn't necessarily manage the resentment that came along with being a woman of color in an organization of mostly, you know, in a male-dominated organization. So again, our demographic was 0.1%. And over a 16-and-a-half-year period, that me not managing all of that stuff just kind of culminated into burnout. And a lot of times people think, and it depends on where I am, how I tell the story, and who I'm talking to. It all happened, but I had a boss who really just gave me permission to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to leave, but I had 16-and-a-half years in, and I am woven in the fabric of the organization. And you and I talked about this yesterday. When you're a woman of color and a woman, nobody wants to hear your problems. You know, you have the position that people want. Women admire you, and you're not only doing what you're doing for women, you're doing it for your people. So we can be choked out and we can be suffocating in our success. And so to have this boss who came and harassed me, and I felt like leadership let me down, he really gave me permission to do what I wouldn't have done, and that was resign with 3.5 years left to retire with the full pension. So that was it. And so it was very difficult, and I don't think I know how much I neglected my health. I don't think I knew how much I resented other people for their negativity and what they said to me until about 1.5 years after I resigned. And God made me stop and look in the mirror at myself, and I didn't like what I saw. So now what do you do? And that's what I'm coming back to talk about.
Well, so let's go back for a second. So, folks who are just joining us, you're here with us live on WQSW 100.5 FM, Northeast Indiana's only 24-hour gospel station. I have Christy Rutherford here, who is a graduate from Harvard Business School, a 16-year veteran for the Coast Guard, very high-achieving, high-ranking, five-time best-selling author, and here to tell tales from the top. And guess what? Champions don't tell. And so you just said something. You said you know, you find yourself in the place where a lot of women want to get to, or people, right? It's that, whatever that place is, whatever people, they paint success and they say, you've made it. You were successful, right? Your black and white resume says you made it, Christy. So you're saying people don't want to hear that you got problems, right? We don't tell us something's wrong because you made it. We need you to stay there. And then you talk about the weight and the burden that you feel for women and for black women and for the black race. Talk about that for a minute, because that can keep you lonely as well.
You know what's interesting, as I was, because I had it all, quote unquote all, you know, for what I was doing, and I had 106 people that worked for me. I mentored 70 people, and I was giving. I'm serving, but I was never. And to mentor 70 people, but I only have 10 people mentoring me, there's going to be a depletion. And when you're one of a few women in the boardroom, I was the only black woman officer in my office. It was only a couple of us in the servers are actually in that region. So when I talk to my mentors, they're men. They're not going to have the same challenges as me. If I talk to my mentors who are white women, they're not going to have the same challenges when they're in it. So if there's one level of leadership that we cross over into when you say, what have I done? Right? Like everybody, you can be going and people will be applauding for you and everybody's on your side and everybody's cheering for you. But there's one layer when you go to that one level, you be like this, what have I done? And you can't go back. And I remember just feeling it was I'm the boss now. So when I walk into a room with the younger people, they stop laughing. I want to laugh too. I want to hear a joke, you know, and, you know, they'll just stop talking. Everybody kind of freezes up. And so the isolation comes with having the position where people expect for you to act a certain way as opposed to just being yourself. And so when I first went to my last office, I was really happy. And they were like, why is she happy? Because people who are like me, you know, the persona is to be stressed out and mean, but I'm happy and I like waffles. Let's drink some sweet tea, right? And so that creates some of the isolation as well when people treat you like your position and they don't treat you like the human that you are. They see you for your title and they don't see you as the person. And so that's lonely. All of our peers now are men, and if you're in, you know, in some organizations, white men, and I'm like, well, what is this that? You know, and I'm now here and these are my peers, and it's not bad, but it is because you kind of lose your identity in this, and to have challenges. You know, my family, not that they didn't want to hear my problems, but my family didn't want to hear my problems. I mean, you have this car, you have this nice house, you have these nice clothes, you go to Paris and you go to Miami and you're always in New York and you're traveling, you're living the life that we want to live.
Yeah.
Really? Suck it up, you know? And one of the things that I found really interesting and isolating as I neared the end of my career was I was telling people that I was stressed out. And nobody wanted to hear it. Even some of my mentors, they say, you'll be all right. And I'm like, no, I'm not all right. You know, oh, you'll be okay. I am not okay. Are you listening to me? Oh, well, that's nothing. Let me tell you what happened to me. So people wanted to make me a number or make me this complaining woman because champions never tell. Now that I'm telling, you don't even hear me. And that was crazy.
Wait. We got to stop right there. Folks, you're on WQSW 100.5 FM, North Indiana's 24-hour gospel station. You just said something. You know, first of all, right, for those of you just joining us, high-achieving woman, right, achieved success that people say success is, because we all know that means something different to everybody. And you found yourself in a place where you were not okay. You felt isolated because of your success. You felt isolated because people do begin to treat you differently, especially as you begin to ascend certain levels. You know, so you're lonely, you're isolated. You know, your peers don't look like you. Your boss doesn't look like you. Then you start saying, I'm stressed out. and you're discounted. Oh,
Yeah.
you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Discounted. Because that word stress is used so often, right? And if there's a spectrum of being stressed, but you were saying, I'm not okay. But because you were a champion, they're like, hey, we don't even hear you.
Yeah, get over it.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, I'm listening. I was like, no, they were like, get over it. You know, you'll be all right.
Yeah, you're fine, you're a champion, and you better stop telling it. Because that's not the story that champions tell. Champions suck it up, and champions are okay. And I want to bring this home because this mirrors that superwoman syndrome that a lot of women fall into, but especially African American women, because we are taught to suck it up and to carry it and to be okay. And so I love you so much, and I'm so glad you're sharing your story. So I fell in love with your Facebook Live. I was like, I'm about to stalk this woman. So I'm stalking you at this point, like, oh, I love this. And I even said to you on your stream, I love that you're giving this a voice, because this is translating into the statistics that say that suicide for Black women has tripled over the last 15 years because champions tell.
Yeah.
And then we don't tell, and then something else happens. So let's pick up where you left off. So you started telling people, I'm stressed out, I'm not okay. And for those of you, thank you. I have 13 people who just shared this video, and I pray that more of you share this because this is important. We're talking about high achieving, successful women. Today we're talking about Black women who people perceive to have it all. And we have one right here who just said, I'm not okay. You all right, girl, because I went through that too. So now what happens after that? You raise your hand, you start saying, I'm not okay. And family and work family are saying you should be fine because you're successful. So what happens at that point?
You know what's interesting is my family, they watch me burn out. And I love my family. And I asked them probably about a year and a half later, right? When I got myself in order, I said, why didn't you say anything? That was not normal. Did you not see? And the thing about women who achieve high levels of success, or we're burning out and we're starting to melt down, right? People can see it, and we think that we're hiding it. We think that even if you say it, we think that people can't see the brokenness, when actually they're just waiting. They're like, oh, one day, she's going to crumble. And I asked my family, why didn't you, that was not, I was not exhibiting normal signs of behavior. Why didn't you say something? And they were like, well, we didn't know what to say. And that was interesting because I think I was like, well, if 5 people may have said something, I may have listened, but they didn't know what to say. And so as I continued to, it really started to break down for me with this bad boss. He was a bully, and this was my second time working for him. And it started to unravel at a very rapid rate. So I started to see all the stress that I didn't manage and the resentment that I did manage. It started to culminate in this it started to have the snowball effect. And I was looking for somebody to help me. And champions, we said it, deal. We never tell. So when we do tell, there is something wrong. If we are saying there is something wrong, we have reached the breaking point where we can't take it anymore, and we are now we never ask for help. So if we're asking for help, that means that we are beyond the point of being in trouble. And so then to do it and to finally say, somebody just, oh my God, I am drowning and I can't take it anymore. This man is a lunatic and nobody would do anything, and nobody in leadership would help me, and nobody would do my job. They're like, just file paperwork. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to file paperwork because it's over. And this is what I talked about in Facebook Live. Minorities know if we go to the formal process, it's over. Because you have there are no, there's going to be repercussions for your actions. So why do I have to do that? I've been loyal. I've done everything. I've gone to these corny Christmas parties. I've laughed at these corny jokes. I've worked myself to death. I've worked for 60 to 80 hours a week. I have these degrees. I have all these achievements. Why can't you just do your job? Yeah. Why do I have to go and file paperwork and now use what's allowed to me in the civil rights process when you should just be a leader and do your job? I shouldn't have to do that. So that made me that added bitterness onto the pain.
Talk about how when you went to the person who was supposed to be able to help you and they said, "Oh, I can't help you."
So we had this, I had a lot of mentors, and if you understand the way that the world works, everything is a backdoor conversation. It's not out front. So I was calling people who should have the backdoor conversation and say, leave her alone. And they wouldn't do anything. And so I went and I just kept climbing the ladder, and it became, in a hierarchical situation, even in corporations, when you go around your boss, you can get in trouble if he finds out.
That's right.
But I was so intent because the guy wasn't only harassing me, he was harassing everybody. So he was an equal opportunist. He harassed everybody. So I was doing it to save the people who work for me. Because it was my second time working for him, I saw him create a dysfunctional culture, and I saw a culture melt down into nothing where, so he's done, I've watched him do it before, and I knew he was going to do it again because that was his MO. And so anyway, so I ended up calling everybody and nobody would do anything. And then I called the last guy, and the organization had just created this leadership, diversity, and advisory council, right? And I always call it the equivalent to the diversity and inclusion person. And and I told him what happened, and I knew him for like 4 or 5 years. So he knew my reputation. He knew who I was. It wasn't like I'm a stranger calling. He knew me. And he said, I can't help you. And I'm like, what do you mean? That's your job. What do you mean you can't help me? We already know this process doesn't work. The civil rights process doesn't work. Why can't you just make a phone call to tell him because if a bully knows that somebody's watching, they'll stop.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you call me like this, I see you. All I wanted was somebody to call him and say, I'm watching you. And it wasn't necessarily about me. As a leader, I was protecting the people who work for me and the people in the office. So that's what it was really about. It wasn't necessarily about leave me alone. It was about leave us alone. And so he found out. So word got back to him, which added fuel to the fire. So they hung me out to dry. And the last thing I'll say is, so when I started to go around and I started to talk to other people because nobody was choosing to do their job, I knew a lot of people, being a high-level leader, being a workaholic and a high flyer, I knew a lot of people who should have done something. And word got back to everybody. And so when it came down to somebody calling to say, hey, what's going on in this region, they said, he's not the problem, it's Christy. I'm the problem because I'm telling. I'm the problem because I'm trying to save everybody. And I said, you know what? If I have to now get burned to save the people who work for me, I love the people who work for me. If they have to say it's me, and if I have to get burned to make him stop acting crazy because apparently now they're watching, so be it. But it intensified, and I resigned. And what I've learned, Jill, was this: at the end of the day, when I talk about it, when I left, I was so bitter. That bitterness was eating me up. It was eating me up like battery acid was running through my system. And what I learned was in 2009, I started to visualize a different life, messing around with Oprah, watching Oprah and reading those books. I wanted this life that I live today. I wanted this life when I retire. So we're always waiting to live the life that we want. I said, when I retire, I want my office to be outside. I want to be a blessing to people. I want to be close to my family. I don't want to have stress. So I started to name it. I wrote it down. I started to speak it, and I started to visualize the life that I wanted. And what I've learned, probably about 8 months after I left, I will say, I want to sit on a bench in a park and eat a croissant and drink coffee at 2:00 in the daytime. And about 8 months after I left, I was sitting on the bench. The wind was blowing through my hair. I was eating a croissant and drinking coffee. And I said, oh my God, I created this. So I unknowingly activated the law of attraction. The law of attraction gives you what you think about the most. I thought about this life the most as I was in the fire. Nice. So what I did was I forgave him, and I forgave everybody for how the story played out because I created it. Right? So it goes to, I can stay bitter for this. In the military, if you have any challenges, they pay you for your challenges. I mean, it's not, they pay that you get money from the VA to, for the challenges that are incurred during that time. And I was like, I don't want that money. Yeah. But I created that situation, and I sent him an edible arrangement on the 1-year anniversary after I resigned. And I said, because of you, I left my career, and it was the greatest decision I ever made. And it confused him, which wasn't my business, but I let that energy go. I let that bitterness go, and I didn't hold on to it to my demise. And I forgave him. I forgave everybody, and it set me free.
That's so powerful. I want to go back because, I wanted to ask you about how this did impact your mental health, right? I mean, you were in a season. This didn't happen in a week, right? So, folks, if you're just joining us, you're here with us on Rise Up Radio on WQSW 100.5 FM, Northeast Indiana's only 24-hour gospel station. We have the amazing, high-achieving Miss Christy Rutherford, graduate of Harvard Business School, and a 16-year veteran with the Coast Guard, and just decorated, five-time best-selling author, and talking about Tales from the Top. So a season of adversity that she went through as a high-ranking officer, and isolated, in a harassing situation, and nowhere to turn, and that's very like a lot of situations for a lot of people. We're talking about women today, but we know men and women experience this. But today we're talking about women of color. It can be a very isolating, lonely place when you get to those certain levels. Why? Because champions are not supposed to tell. You've made it, so nothing is wrong, and nobody wants to hear you. And then when you talk about when you did begin to ascend those ladders and begin to tell those people that could help you, they did not respond. They did not respond. So from a mental health standpoint, how did that impact you before you got to the I'm visualizing a new day and I'm crossing, my legs are crossed and I'm on that bench? How did that show from a mental health standpoint?
I was crazy in the two left shoes. That's what TD Jakes like to say. Girl, I was so, what's interesting is I started having panic attacks at my desk. I started to lose. I have a good friend. So I'm the organized person. I'm the person who rallies people. I'm the super duper. Can you hear me? Because I see your.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So I see. So I'm the super duper organized person. I'm always the person that's on time. And I started to slip. And my friend, one of my good friends, would be like, "Christy, what is wrong with you?" And you've never missed a meeting. You've never missed a phone call. You've never done these things. What is really going on? And I'm telling him, I am losing it. So I was in the, I went to the emergency room every 3 weeks. So I was sick every 2-3 weeks. I was sick for 4 days. So my immune system was shutting down. And my stress, I had stress-induced arthritis that I put into remission 12 years before that. It came back. And so my body is exhibiting all the signs, and alarms are going off, red flags are going up, and everything is going on. And still I'm looking for somebody to give me permission to leave. When the challenges that I was having with my health should have been, but you can't, and this is what I talked about, when you're 300 feet tall, your personal person can be this big. They beat you down so low that this is the person that has to make the decision. She was not rational, and it was awful. And I remember talking to two people. Finally, I started to black out because I was so angry at him. And then I started to think about, the sacrifices that I made in my life, burning through my childbearing years and not spending time with my family, and all the Christmas parties that I went to. So I started to culminate all the sacrifices that I made, and then I became angry. Because I gave my whole life to an organization that I thought that if I was loyal to them, they would be loyal to me. So that bitterness started to eat me up on the inside. And I remember when I resigned, so I had two friends that said, "You know what, Christy, just go. Hey, look, let me tell you something. I don't even know who you are anymore. You are deteriorating mentally, and just go." So it was two people out of the 30 or 40 people or so I called because I'm looking for permission. Somebody give me permission to leave. Somebody give me permission to leave. Give me permission to leave because I'm going nuts, right? And it was two of my friends, and actually I still talk to them today. They said, "Christy, just go." And I ended up going to the military gives you a 1-week course when you leave. And I'm there, and they gave us a stress test. And you have green, yellow, orange, and red. So orange is wounded. Orange means you're homicidal or you're suicidal. Whoa. And I was orange. And I'm like, oh my God, this is why I'm leaving. I wasn't, I wasn't suicidal, but I was going to assault somebody. I love myself, but he was going to get jumped on. So I was at that point of assault, and I was saying to myself, Christy, how did you get here?
Wow.
How did this happen to you? Like, what happened to you? So it's the outside person looking at yourself, and it's funny that I'm admitting this because I'm almost wondering, like, are you telling too much? But it's important. So because it's not about me anymore, right? It's not about it. Right. It's about I am now used as a vessel to share my story because I'm on top of it now. I'm the person, and I knew this story would come out. I knew I wanted to tell this story, but I needed to achieve a lot first. So I wasn't the person that, Christy was wounded and, look at her, clap, clap, clap. She just went to Harvard, clap, clap, clap. She wrote some books. No, I went to Harvard. I wrote some books. I've achieved more in the past year than people have done in a lifetime. And by the way, 5 years ago, I was crazy to 2 left shoes, So it's,
I want to underscore that for a minute though, because, a lot of us, we don't have the benefit of that formal stress test that tells us where we are. But a lot of us, if we had that test, we would have been right where you were. We would have been orange. Yeah. I mean, some of us are orange right now. Let's just keep it real, right? Which is why.
Yeah.
I mean, I think your story is so powerful because we need to hear that. This is what happens in life. We have people right now on the job today, not just high achieving folks, but folk in general, right? Who find themselves in a position where they're being harassed, isolated, or in a hostile environment, and they don't have anywhere to turn. That's why people are shooting up the post office. I'm just saying, right? I mean, that's what's happening. Now, you did it the right way. You went up the chain. Nobody would help you. And for your own mental health, you said, I've got to go. I've got to go. But I love the fact that they do that formal test because you now have a benchmark to say, hey, this is where I really was. It's not just in your head. That's where you really were.
Yeah, I think, but the thing, Jill, I was mad when I took the test because I'm like, why didn't y'all give me this 3 years ago? This is why I'm here. This is why I'm leaving because I'm orange. Why didn't you identify me when I was yellow? Why am I getting this now on my way out? Duh, but because I had to leave or I was going to die. I had to leave or I was going to jump on somebody. So I'm so mad that I had to leave. I didn't want to leave, girl. I was getting paid. I mean, I love my job. I only had 3.5 years left to retire, but I was forced to leave for my own sake. And a lot of people didn't understand that, but I was mad because why didn't they give me this? Everybody wants to talk about leadership and everybody wants to train on agility and I don't know, what is the Scrum stuff and the 5-minute manager and everybody get on the bus. Train me on how to manage my stress. Don't leave that up to me personally. You want to talk about all this stuff. Why don't you help me manage my stress? And I remember we watched this video. They made everybody watch it. And this is when I worked on the Hill. And they said, if you don't watch it, we're going to stop your pay. All right, fine. Right. Cause you got to watch this video. If you want to stop my pay, I'll do it. And it was something that was put together. I don't know which company put it together, but they put it together for the Department of Homeland Security. And we worked on the Hill, so we all stressed out. And me and my colleagues. And it said, it was called resilience training. We had to watch this 1-hour video, and it said if you're having problems and if you have too much work to do, tell your boss that you're stressed out. What? If your boss is giving you too much work, go and tell your boss that you're overwhelmed and to give you less work. I said, who created this? I need help. And me going to my boss, telling him, boss, I think that you're giving me too much work. You know what? I'm stressed out. I think that I need to take some time off. This is not a proper procedure for how I need to manage my stress and myself. Who created this, right? Who created this video? Because we should stack them up and burn them. Because somebody really needs to give me some assistance because I don't have time to take care of myself because I'm achieving. I don't have time to take care of my stress because I'm too busy proving people wrong. I don't have time to manage my health because I'm on to the next thing. So that's the thing is that, yes, I am responsible, but give me something that's going to bridge the gap between my implosion and being a great leader. You're a greater leader when you're able to manage yourself personally. Yes, I am a fantastic leader. I'm leading a team and I am getting the results, but help me become a better person so I can become an even greater leader. And that's what I do. That's what my company is about. It's not about continuing to teach people how to be leaders and shoving leadership, the professional development down their throats. Is help me unravel just me being a leader, a high power leader in general. I have done some things wrong. I am being choked out at the top. I know it. Help me unravel that stuff. Help me create some space in my brain. Help me create some space in my heart so I can be a greater leader in this organization. And that's what people don't want to hear. It's help me solve and get better connected with my family and let go of some of the guilt that I've created in my pursuit of success. Everybody at the top is suffering for different reasons. My goal is to help people unravel the web that they weaved around themselves and exhale and once say, we all got something going on for different reasons. Everybody has something going on. And when you can relax in that, you feel less guilty. And that's some of the weight that we carry around. You feel less guilt for having something going on. Squirrels running around in your head. Everybody got it.
That's right. You feel guilty because you're supposed to be okay. You're supposed to be okay, so you feel guilty when something is going on. Folks, we got some folks who are just joining us. You're here on WQSW 100.5 FM, Northeast Indiana's only 24-hour gospel station. Yes, we have the amazing Christy Rusford, 5-time best-selling author, a graduate from Harvard Business School, 16-year, very accomplished veteran from the Coast Guard, and she's telling tales from the top. And guess what? For a long time, she was told that champions don't tell. And she found herself in a hostile, isolated situation, and she really just needed to get out. And I think it's amazing that on your way out, when they give you that stress test, you came up orange, which is homicidal or suicidal. And I wish they had that test for civilians. Lord Jesus, I'm sure they do, because a lot of us would test out at that stage. Now, we have somebody on the line, who happens to be my twin brother, who said he's fluorescent orange right now. He's funny. He's being funny. But he had a question for you. He said, do you feel like your boss resented you because he knew you were overqualified?
My boss, he harassed everybody. So he was just a bully. And when I left, he destroyed 3 women who had over 25 years experience. Like, he took them out. So I worked for him a year. I worked for him about 4 years before that. And he tried to get me not promoted. So actually what happened was, we didn't have any. So I was I became the 15th the 13th Black female commander in the Coast Guard's history. And so that was that. Yeah.
The 13th Black female
commander is a rank in history. Yeah.
History of the Coast Guard.
Yeah. Incredible. So we didn't have that. So we don't have a lot of women at the top. And I couldn't figure out why. Even when I joined this organization, I couldn't figure out why we don't have that many Black women at the top. Until I became the person who was ascended to the top. They don't want you there. So I just said it. So I wanted to be the first Black female captain, which is the colonel. Or I was ascending to that because I was qualified to do it. And I remember telling him that. And he said, Christy, what are your goals? And I said, this is when I worked for him 5 years prior to me working for him again. But and I told him I want to be one of the first Black female captains, which is the colonel equivalent in the Coast Guard. And he had this Mr. Grinch smile on his face. And he was looking at me. It was like an evil smile. Like, that ain't gonna happen. And I would do everything in my power to stop you. I could just read his thoughts. And I said, he was the last person that I told that, because you can't tell your high goals and your high dreams to everybody, talking about you want to get to the top. He was like, yeah. And he worked and harassed me. This is 5 years before that, to the point that I stuttered. I was so stressed that I talked like that, right? So it was awful. So this, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want to slow this down because this is so powerful. Do you know your experiences in the military? But honey, there are people today in traditional.
They do it everywhere.
You know that when you talk about the stutter, and that's something that's hard to talk about.
Yeah.
And I relate to you in ways. We started talking about champions don't tell, and I remember having a boss where I had knots in my stomach. I remember seeing my phone ring, and when her name came up, I would sweat I'm not joking, and I've never shared this with anybody, never. I mean, my husband knows because he lives with me, but I never shared it. I remember stuttering in a one-on-one because not because I was scared of her, but because the hostility in the environment was suffocating. When you know that somebody is not for you and you can feel working against you, that thing gets inside you, and your title and your salary and your office and your company car and all those things, people, that's what people see. So they're like, ain't nothing wrong with you, girl. You better go in there and keep that good job.
You better keep that good job and the benefits. Ain't nobody trying to hear about you better stop stuttering and get it together.
Go get a glass of wine and you're gonna be okay tomorrow.
Yes.
I know, girl. I know that. So when you said that, and I'm glad you are so bold enough to give a voice to this conversation, because I don't know that I would have ever made this a platform. But when I saw your Facebook Live and I heard you telling your story, I was like, oh my God, that's me.
Yeah.
So talk about that, because you're helping people today. You know,
I wanted to. Let me just say, God made me do it. So let me just put that out there. He made me have this conversation because champions never tell. And he challenged me for 2 weeks. And I've learned, because I flow now in energy. I flow. There's energy that moves through me. I allow him to use me as a vessel. I surrendered 3 years ago and I said, use me, girl. You'd be like, use me. He'd be like, okay, I'm going to use you. But he challenged me so much over a 2-week period. I said, you know what? When I'm challenged this much, there's something that you want me to share. Just go ahead and tell me what it is so I can just get past this. I don't want to be challenged. So I do want to say this is really I'm used as a tool to share this insight, because I would have never told this information. I would have never shared. But the reason why I do it is because I'm over it. And I'm on top of it, and I'm healthy, and I'm whole, and I'm healed, and I want to be the light to show people. You know, I remember when I was when I was at my lowest point, being stomped in the dirt, and was in hell pretty much, and darkness had overtaken me, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on. I remember hearing Maya Angelou say, on the other side of every storm is the greatest sense of joy. And I recorded it on my phone to play it in my office every day. On the other side of every storm is the greatest sense of joy. I didn't know how the storm was going to end. All I know is I think I'm going to die. And how do I change this? Well, okay, I believe you. Where is the joy? Where is my rainbow? And if you say it, then I really anchored in that. And I said, tough times can't last always. Now, I don't know how this story is going to end, but I got to hold on to hope of something. And I have become, this is what the joy looks like on the other side of the storm. And so when people see me, they only see my joy. People who are now connected with me, they only see my happiness. They only see, I'm fruitier than a fruitcake, right? I am so happy. People think I am super weird. So they only see that. They never saw my pain. They never saw that I almost died. They never saw my challenges. So I'm here to say, if you're in hell right now, if you're in darkness, if darkness is overtaking you, you have to do something different. You have to move. I am the light on the other side. This is what joy looks like. It is possible, but you have to do something different. You have to be willing to give up what you think is holding you back from living the life that you desire and deserve. It is possible, but you have to do something. Don't die in your pain. Don't allow people. Yeah, when you're not welcome somewhere, it's okay to shake the dust from your feet and leave. You are qualified. You are valuable. You are welcome in other places. Yes. Leave. And it's okay for people to talk about you. You won't die if they talk about you. You won't die if you run out of money. You won't die, but you will die if you stay. Woo! I think about this Google engineer. It was a Google engineer who went to Uber within 5 months, a black guy. He killed himself because the stress was so immense. He left his family, his wife and his 2 kids behind. If you're at this point of darkness, it's okay to leave. You won't die. I did not die, but had I stayed, I would have died. Had I stayed, I might have been in jail.
We got to stop right there. That's so powerful what you just said right there. And I love how you said you won't die if you run out of money. You won't die, but you may die if you stay where you are, because we underestimate the power of the stress. You know, stress has become such a watered down word, but we need to find a new word for it, because it's really not stress. It's like, you know, death, almost death. It can be death in process if we're not careful.
Yeah.
If we're not careful, something could die. Even if you don't die physically, something's dying if we're not addressing that. And we have options. And you're saying, listen, I made a decision. And I know some people thought you were crazy to leave 3 years before your retirement with full pension.
Oh,
Speak to people not understanding what you have to do for you.
You know, T.D. Jakes gave this analogy where he said you have three types of people in your life. You have confidants, comrades, and what is it? Confidants, constituents, and comrades, right? He says confidants are for you. You only have about 3 to 4 confidants in your life. They are for you. Constituents are for what you are for. And comrades are not for you or what you're for. They're just against your enemy. So what I learned was, when I was dying, you can see that I am unraveling. And 2 people were my confidants. They said, Christy, go. Because I've built this mantle of who I am in my position. So I am not even a human anymore. I am a trophy. I am a golden, mantle of who people, I am an idol who people respect. I'm not even a human anymore. But 2 people said, Christy, we don't recognize you anymore. Christy is gone. Go. Right? Now, my constituents, the people who was for what I was for, were crying. And I don't blame them, right? But when sometimes people attach their destiny to you, when you leave, they don't know how they're going to survive. So it ain't even about you. What are we going to do when you leave? What is the organization going to do without you? What are we as Black women going to do? And they're crying. I am melting. My brain is like, girl, like a Pepto. What was the acid, the antacid? It is like fizzing away. And you're crying on the phone to make me feel guilty when I'm about to die. You're making me feel guilty because you don't know what you're going to do when I leave. What am I going to do? I am drowning, and you want to keep me here anchored and drown so you don't drown.
That's right.
I can't. I got to go. So, and then there are comrades who are not, and so my number 2 boss, and I said this in my Facebook Live. So the number 1 boss was the maniac. The number 2 boss, he was being harassed too. And he wouldn't, align with me to push his information up because he wanted to be promoted. And he ended up getting him too, and he didn't get promoted. So he called me a year later and was like, Christy, let's get it. Because I got promoted. I ended up getting promoted in the reserve. So I became, I would have, and he didn't. Now he's mad. Now he wants to get it. I said, man, if you don't get off my phone. But he wasn't for me. We were just against the enemy. So I think the thing about, I was rational enough to know that I had become absolutely irrational. And one of the things that happens when you're in that point of being, like your brother said, fluorescent orange, your blood vessels in your brain are being restricted so much. You are incapable of making good decisions, right? I couldn't, and I would hear this voice talking to me. And I was a spiritual at the time. He waited for life to wear me out, and then he was like, "All right, you ready?" But I was so irrational, and I would just ask myself, Christy, how did this happen to you? What did you do? How did you let this get so bad? Yeah. And what are you going to do? And I felt guilty about it. And I was like, what did you do to yourself? How did you let this happen to you? Why didn't you manage this for 10 years? And what are you going to do now? And how are you going to become the human again? Because you're this idol. What have you created? And I can't believe you let this happen to yourself. So that was the rational person said, you got to go. I don't care about the money. I don't care about the, who you want. I got to go. And it's so it's so interesting to go back in this point, because I couldn't believe that I let it get that bad, but I couldn't believe that people were willing to watch me die.
Well,
to stay where they wanted to be.
Because I don't know that they thought they were watching me die. Right?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
We don't recognize what death is, because see, you were Superwoman to us. We were like, go girl. We know you might feel like you're dying, but we don't think so. You just keep going for us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we allowed you. We wanted you to be the idol. I love that you said the word idol, because that likens to the whole Superwoman syndrome that a lot of Black women deal with, well, women in general. But we want idols. We need idols. The world loves idols. So, Christy, listen, I know you got a couple things going on, cutie, but you just keep on being that idol for us. You stay on up there and you're saying, but I'm dying. I'm orange, which means I'm homicidal or suicidal. And I'm using that because everybody can relate to that on this line right now. We've all been somewhere in between or one or the other. So, right? I mean, I'm just glad that you have the courage to say, this is where I was. And I'm glad that you said I had to make a decision that was unpopular and that confused a lot of people. Sometimes
everybody was confused.
Right. But you got to do that for your own mental health. Or there would be a beautiful ceremony maybe one day for somebody, her name used to be Christy. Like, we don't want that. So you're saying, listen, I got to do what's best for me. I love that you are so brave to tell this story. For those of you just joining us, and we're going to shift here quickly, but you're live on WQSW 100.5 FM, Northeast Indiana's only 24-hour gospel station. You're here with Rise Up Radio with the amazing Christy Rutherford, graduate from Harvard Business School, 5-time best-selling author, 16-year veteran, high-ranking achiever in the Coast Guard. And she's talking about tales from the top. You know, she ascended high, but found herself in a very isolated, harassing situation and had to make a decision, or she was going to die. I love that. I don't want to stay there. I don't want to end there. So you knew at some point you were going to not be here anymore. You made a decision that was unpopular. You resigned with 3 years left to retire. But now you have this amazing, full life where you can cross your legs and have your coffee and your croissant on that park bench. And so you have a brand new business that you've launched, and you help others achieve the very life that you're living. So talk to me about your business and how you help others achieve that.
So I launched this business. I call it Live Up Leadership. Leadership inspires and values excellence, which equals ultimate profits. And what Live Up Leadership is really about is, one of the things that I learned when I was able to sit back, we never stop to smell the roses. And that's what makes leadership so tough. We're always on to the next problem. We're not able to look and see what impact that we've made in the lives of other people. So I talk about all these people that I mentored and you know, being a great leader and speaking life into people. So my gift was to be able to see who a person could become, not who they are, but who they could become. And it's typically 3 levels above who they are. So I would treat them like that until they became that person. So when I was able to stop, you know, pause and look back, I saw that a lot of the people that used to work for me were rock stars, all of them, right? And I was like, I could just count them and go, like, okay, what is? And so in the Coast Guard, they give one opportunity to, you know, one person a year, you know, maybe 20 opportunities, one person a year. So whenever the people that work for me would apply, they would get it. So I was like, wait a minute, right? Like I have created a large band of rock stars, and they still talk to me. So the difference when you're a leader, when people don't have to talk to you anymore, it was rare to have a lot of them still talk to me. And whenever they you know, were promoted or whenever they got a special award, they would always say it was because of you. And so I sent them a survey, and I was like, hey, apparently I was a greater leader than I thought, you know, because the people who worked for me 10 years before that were promoted 4 times. And the guys who used to work for me, you know, 5, 6 years ago had been promoted and, you know, got all these special things. I said, tell me what I did, because because I can't see it, I can duplicate it and I can teach other people. Because other leaders out here, and I've studied leadership and leadership principles, leaders from the 1800s and the 1900s. So what I found is all the great leaders, we've done the exact same thing. There is a roadmap to success when it comes to being a great leader. So Henry Ford, the Edison, you know, the Wright brothers, and Thomas Edison, and Napoleon Hill, and Wallace D. Wattles, all these, we've all done the same thing. There is a checklist. And so as I started to study these, I'm like, oh my God, that's what I've done. Mark Cuban, we've done the same thing. So if I can see it, now I can teach it. So that's what leadership, Live Up Leadership is about. It's about teaching leaders the philosophies and the principles, the long-standing principles of what it takes to be a great leader, not some new trend or some new fad. I'm not, when everybody wants to make up these words and they want to sound academic, and I tell people, I don't have to sound academic. You can look at my resume, like, this girl got more degrees than a thermometer, right? So it's, what can I share? What can I teach in English, in plain English, the principles and philosophies that the leaders over the past 100, 200, 300 years have implemented in their lives to be great leaders. And it's not something new. So that's what Live Up Leadership is about. And as a coach, I'm the person who, I'm a coach by purpose, right? Coaching is who I am. It's not necessarily a profession. It's who I am, and people pay me for it. But as a coach, again, my gift is to see who a person can become. And so I coach a lot of leaders who want to get to the next level, who have been beat down by life. And I always say, when life puts a whooping on you and they need to see who they can become, I assist people unleashing their greatness and seeing who they can be, and then giving them the steps to get there. So I like to, and I only work with leaders, right? I always tell people, I only work with winners. And I like to work with leaders because I know that we've created a web around ourselves that's choking us out. And so I told this lady the other day, this client the other day, this new client, I said, I can't wait to help you unscramble your eggs, right? Because she has been caught up by life. Now, what can we do to peel the layers back? Learning from my own experience. There is a greater person. There is a calmer person. There is a happier person. There is a person who can live in their destiny. There is a person who can have less stress. There is a person who can make greater impact in the world. But life has buried that person. Bad relationships and bad bosses and just the general whooping that life puts on you has buried them. Let's go ahead and dig that person out. And it's never too late to live the life that you want. Let's dig that person up and you become that person and then set them free into their destiny. So
I love you, Miss Christy Rutherford, and I love your story.
Yeah.
We had an instant connection yesterday. We were like,
I love you. I've only known you for 30 minutes and you're my sister forever.
I know. We have Jackson saying, Jackson on the line. She says, good morning. She's chiming in.
I'm going to see her this weekend.
Oh, good. Well, kiss her for me. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Not because you graduated from Harvard. That's awesome. Not because you're a 5-time best-selling author. That's amazing. Not because you're a high-achieving 16-year veteran of the Coast Guard. That's pretty impressive. But because after all that, you took back your own mental health. You took back your own sanity, and you fought for yourself. And you made a decision that was not popular, but that was right for you. That's why I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for now bringing this story to the forefront and encouraging other people that they too can come out of the darkness, because this happens every day in corporate America or every day on your job. People find themselves in hostile, isolating situations where they feel like they have nowhere to turn. And sometimes you fight for you and you go up, or sometimes you fighting means leaving. Sometimes fighting means staying, but sometimes fighting means leaving. And sometimes leaving is winning. Right? And I think that sometimes we believe that leaving is losing or giving up, but sometimes leaving is winning. In this case for you, leaving was winning. Yeah. Leaving was living for you.
Yeah. I think that when to be a minority or a minority woman or a woman, and we fight so much. And at the end of the day, when you're fighting 15, 20 years, you be like, what am I fighting for? Like, was I fighting to achieve? And what can happen is you can fight so much. You can have everything. And that's what happened. One of the things with me is I had everything, but I didn't feel it because I only felt the pain of what it took to get there. So I never felt successful. So I never felt the awards and the promotions and the degree. That's why I was still going. That's why I was still achieving, going, because I never felt successful, because I only felt the pain of what it took to get there, the scars and the bleeding. So I'm standing on top bleeding saying, I'm here, but I'm still hurt. And so we need to get clarity on, what does success mean to you today? And I was working with one of my clients and I asked her, what does success mean to you today? So are you operating your life today on old data? When back in the day, success may have meant, I want to get these degrees and I want to make this money. But are you still, if you've made it, if you've gotten that, can you stop and say, I did that? But we're not allowed to celebrate ourselves. So, because nobody wants to celebrate you, right? But we're not allowed to say, I've made it. Now what? Well, success to me means health. It means I need to get my marbles back. Success to me means, you know, being able to live and be around my family and not be stressed out, to be present with the people that I love. That's what success means. It means having my health back. It doesn't mean all the things that I thought it would mean, because I have that already. And that's the thing about successful people. When we did that, check. Now what?
That's so beautiful, folks. We're out of time. You're here on Rise Up Radio, WQSW 100.5 FM, Northeast Indiana's only 24-hour gospel station. Man, I see a part 2 in the future. We'll have to see. But make sure you come back next Saturday at 9 o'clock so we can have another amazing time on Rise Up Radio, and join us Monday for Moment to Monday, where your Mondays will never be the same. Thank you for all you folks in listener land. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so for our folks on Facebook Live, I have to always, you know, wrap up officially for our radio listeners. They're so awesome to us. We got people on Facebook Live saying, thank you for a powerful show. This is amazing but painful truth for a lot of leaders. Jack says, hey, beautiful, love the interview. Lots of people just chiming in. Jason says, go where you're appreciated, not where you're tolerated. Zeta says, very powerful. We die how we live. Somebody else says, thank you. Kelly says, thank you for an amazing show. People are really, really, really appreciating your truth.
Thank you.
Jennifer Hook says they can relate. She can relate to your story. She can relate to this. And so you are helping people.
I really appreciate you, Jill, and I appreciate you reading the comments, because it's not comfortable. I don't have a problem with telling these stories. But you know, because I am used as a tool, but then at the end I'll be like, God, you tripping. Why why do I have to tell my business? Yeah. Why you got me in here telling this business? But it's necessary to save other people, and that's what I was hoping. That's what I'm hoping that I'm doing. So I'm glad that you confirmed that that's exactly what I'm doing, because that's why I'm sharing.
It's exactly what you do, and I want to promote you, and I want to share the amazing work that you're doing, because awesome. I believe empowering other women, and so I want people to know how to find you. So a couple questions are coming through. What's her complete name? So you can find her name is Christy Rutherford. It's Christy Rutherford on Facebook.
Yep, CHRISTY, last name Rutherford, RUTHERFORD. They can connect with me on my personal page. I still got room.
Yeah, so actually, she's tagged on this Facebook page, so if you'll see her the correct spelling of her name on the Facebook post here. And it's also on the Zoom. So as you're watching on Zoom, you can see it spelled there. It's Christy, CHRISTY Rutherford. She still has a little bit of room left. You can join her on her Facebook page. I always delete people so I can keep room. Make room for people. So that's her. That's how you can connect with her on Facebook. I would strongly recommend you follow her so you're notified when she goes live. She's amazing live videos happening. I'm not sure how often you do them, but I think you're on part 4 right now, right?
Yeah, you know what's funny about Facebook Live, you don't have to comb my head. So, but I'm trying to narrow my schedule down to get them more routine. But one of the things I want to offer your listeners, I have a free ebook. If you go to my website, ChristyRutherford.com, click on free ebook. The book is called Sexy Savvy Single, where I call it the unspoken paranoia of ambitious women who are self-conscious and lonely. So a lot of times when we think about why we are, you know, whether it's you're divorced multiple times, whether or not you can't find love, it's about the things that we're not sharing. It's about the things that the stress that we have. That's keeping us single. It's not about, guys are intimidated by me. Let's work to get your closet clean so you can invite the love that you deserve. So Sexy Savvy Single is my free ebook. So you can go to my website, check it out. It's awesome.
Okay, wait. So ladies, because I have a lot of single ladies who joined this broadcast. So you go to ChristyRutherford.com and get the free ebook. What's it called again?
It's called Sexy Savvy Single.
Sexy, Savvy, and Single. I love that. So make sure that you go to her website, ChristyRutherford.com, to get the free ebook. And when you go to the website, you can see also you have a podcast or a radio show with some recordings there as well that people can listen to.
Yep, I have a radio show, and if one of the books that I wrote, I want to offer it to your listeners. It's called Heal Your Brokenness. It's on Amazon. So Heal Your Brokenness was that book on, I call it the 10 most powerful days that will change your life. So Heal Your Brokenness was how I was able to really get out of the situation that I found myself in. It's about finding out who's in your circle, learning that all families are dysfunctional. One, admitting that you're unhappy. So I gave a lot of, and it's straightforward and gangster, right? So it's do you want to take forever to get your life back, or do you want the shortcut? So I really put together Heal Your Brokenness as a tool to assist people with seeing where they are. And that's why I tell my story, be like, are you standing where I was standing? Now let me show you how to get on the path and get out of your own way and get on the path to happiness. So Heal Your Brokenness is on Amazon. So all the 5 books that I have are on Amazon, but Heal Your Brokenness is that book for people who feel like they are, that they're being choked out by life.
I love that. And they can find all those books on your website as well, right?
Yep. I have the link to my website. Yep.
Okay. Because new people are joining saying, what's the name of the book again? What's the name of the book again? So if you go to KrisRutherford.com, all her books will be there, but there is a very powerful free ebook that you can get, Sexy, Savvy, and Single. And so make sure that you make sure you get her free ebook, and make sure that you also support her by purchasing the other book from Amazon. But she has 5, so you can purchase all 5 today, ladies and gentlemen. That would be awesome as well. So thank you. This is so awesome, and I just so appreciate you so much.
Well, Jill, I appreciate you. I appreciate you asking me to share. And again, this isn't something that champions never tell. And so to have you ask me to, and then have me share this insight that I haven't really shared publicly, I know that it's time. I know that, the man above wants people to really, to get out of their own way and have the courage to leave a situation before they die. So I appreciate you allowing me to step in and continue to walk in my purpose and to serve other people around the world. And with this message, it's about shining light on challenges that we're not willing to talk about, because everybody wants to walk around like life is perfect when everybody is getting, gut punched somewhere. So it's about sharing my story of where I was and to stand now in the light to say, yeah, you can have this happiness too. You can have this joy too, but it's going to take you making a decision that you are worth it, and making the tough decision and know that you may be talked about it. You may be ostracized, and, you may have these things, but you won't die if you leave. You will die if you stay.
I thought it was powerful. We'll end on this note. When you and I were talking yesterday, and you said champions normally don't tell while they're in it. They tell after they've come on the other side of it. But some don't make it to the other side.
No.
So that's why I think this conversation is so powerful, because some don't make it to the other side. And that's not an opinion. Statistics are showing that people are now choosing suicide as a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And so your story today, you're encouraging us to talk about it now. And I have to admit, I have been that one too, to talk about it later. But when you're in it, I didn't feel like I had anybody. Who do I tell that to? Who do I say that I stutter when I go into a one-on-one meeting with this particular boss, or I get knocked in my stomach when I see her calling my phone? Who do I say that to? And then when I do say it to her boss, he tells her. And now what my life is like. Now it's even worse. So you walk around, you don't say anything. And then guess what? The people who haven't been there don't want to hear it, because on paper, you got it.
Jill, that's the difference between the time that I stuttered and the time that I made the decision to leave was I had a coach. So that's what coaches do. Coaches are those neutral, non-judgmental people who will assist you with moving from where you are to where you want to be. And so I went to coaching, I got my coaching certification from Georgetown, but I also had a coach. So she was the one that I talked to. She was the one that I confided in. She was the one that I was bawling on the phone with. And she was the one that assisted me with working out the details of leaving. So I wouldn't necessarily say that I left on my own. She was the one that created that framework to allow me to jump into the unknown. And so that's what, that's the power of coaches. Is the coach is that person who is that neutral person, and that non-judgmental person that you can share your innermost, oh my God, I think I'm going nuts, and assist you with moving from where you are to where you want to be.
That is so beautiful. The power of coaching, there you have it. Well, we have a certified coach from Georgetown, a graduate from Harvard Business School, a 5-time best-selling author, 16 years experience in the Coast Guard. I'm just saying, you know, there are a couple reasons why you can follow this lady, a couple reasons why she's qualified to and coach you. And I share that because, you know, today, you know, a lot of people, you know, coach. But I love that. That's another show. But I love
I get a weekend certification talking about I'm a coach. Be like, people say, Chrissy, well, coaching is what I am. It just so happens to be a profession, right? But that's what I've been doing my whole life. So anyway, let's go ahead.
But I love the fact that I can say you're a certified coach from Georgetown. Okay, I love that. And Tanja Mitchell just bought your book and says she's very excited to read it.
Let me know, Tanja. Let me know what you learned. It's that book. You know, I had a friend who was working. Actually, one of my friends I was in the service with, but she hated her job. And she would not move. And when she read my book, she watched a couple of videos. She said, you know what, Christy, I left because, darn it, she said the other word, but it's time for me to be happy. And she had to make that tough decision. So whenever you're able to get some clarity on where you are and bring your feet back down to the ground, you're able to make decisions that are for you. And that's what the book Heal Your Brokenness is about. It's about to really see where you are and how you created it. Because if you can own the life, you created it. And if you can own it, you can change it. But as long as you're blaming other people for your problems, you'll never change.
Now, I do want to say this. This show is not about telling everybody to go quit their jobs. Okay, so don't leave here talking about hashtag, I'm firing my boss, hashtag, quit your job, hashtag, Christy said quit. No, that is not what she said. Christy got a coach who counseled her, walked through her, and they together made a decision that was best for that season of Christy's life. Quitting your job. And
Christy saved 6 figures. I saved 6 figures. So I had money stacked. And that's, you know, and before we wrap up, you know, that's one of the things, because when I stuttered the first time, I said, Christy, you're not in a position to leave. What are you doing with your money? You know, if this all goes bad, you have not created a financial situation that you're breaking case of emergency glass. So I started to stop spending my money on fruitless things. I started to save my money. I started to stack my money. So if I ever got into a tight spot again, I'm not trapped. I haven't created a lifestyle that I can't get out of. I haven't, you know, built these houses and these cars and I got all this stuff, but now I'm suffocating at my desk because if I lose this job, I'm gonna lose my house. If I leave this job, I'm gonna lose my car. So I would rather walk around with a Louis Vuitton purse and a Gucci belt and have all this other kind of stuff and hate my life when I could take that money and I could stack it. So whenever it was time to go, that's how I was able to leave with 16 and a half years. I saved 6 figures. So I broke the case of emergency glass and jumped.
Wait, that's an important note right there. And I'm glad you made that point because we, you know, are in a time where being an entrepreneur is super sexy, right? That's the new sexy. You know, be your own boss, hashtag boss chick, hashtag boss up, hashtag CEO, all those beautiful hashtags we all love to say. But at the end of the day, right? I mean, to do that, you have to have resources. That's just the truth. Yeah. And so I'm glad that you are being responsible, saying, I just didn't quit and just said, you know, I'm just going to pray that it's going to be all right. Prayer is important, but you also planned for that moment if it ever came. And so I want our listeners on the line today to hear that, listeners on the line today. She had a plan in case this happened. So she had a coach, and she already planned for the moment. This was not a
and I network. Yeah, and I network, right? So when I left, I was offered 4 jobs in the first week. Like they were like, you did what? You need a job? And 10 in the first month. So I had built a reputation and my credibility around people. So I networked. So I've been offered over 30 jobs. And so it's about creating who you are, but also having, how many cars do you have in your back pocket? If I got to play some cards around here and if I got to go, who am I going to call that's going to have my next job? And so that's what it's about, Jill. It's about creating those professional connections and building your reputation in your community and going to networking events. And I wish I would have done a lot more of the professional women's networking events, because people who are around you have jobs in their mouth. They just don't know that you need them. So if you build your reputation and you build your credibility around people and people understand and they know who you are, when it is time to make the shift, whether you're an extremist or not, you're able to slide into another job seamlessly because you've built your reputation and not necessarily give, 80 hours a week into your job. You need to create, and that's what I work with my young clients. Well, you need to be out talking to people. So if your boss, if your job goes sideways, you can slide into something else. I just chose to be an entrepreneur, but people need to have the money saved. They need to have a plan, and it's okay to be loyal to your company, but don't be so loyal that if it goes sideways, you're left out, you're hung out to dry, and then you live the rest of your life bitter talking about what somebody did to you. You need to create a plan where you're able to manage yourself and your family.
Absolutely. Well, this has been amazing, 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 amazing. I just loved having you, so I'm going to beg you to come back one day again real soon. Amazing dialogue. We have people still just joining like, oh, what's going on? So you guys will have to go back and listen to the recording. But again, it's still Jordan Green with Rise Up Radio. We were live today on WQSW 100.5 FM, Northeast Indiana's only 24-hour gospel station. We were super honored this morning to have in our virtual studio Miss Christy Rutherford, 5-time best-selling author, 16 years of leadership and amazing experience in the Coast Guard, graduate of Harvard Business School, and certified coach from Georgetown University. And there's a free ebook she has available on her website at ChristyRutherford.com. So follow her so you can turn on the notifications. So when her Facebook Live series comes on, you can listen to that. She has some really, really good nuggets for you. And she's a certified life coach. So if you need to go from point A to point B, she is definitely someone I endorse and I encourage you to follow. So thank you, Christy.
Thank you, Jill. Thanks for everybody for joining us. And if you have somebody that would benefit from this, please share this with them and encourage them to watch it and do something to change. So thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you, Jill. Y'all have a fantastic weekend.
Absolutely. We had 25 people share this today. So I would encourage you to share with others. There are lots of people who could use this amazing information. So we're going to get out of here, you guys. Have a fantastic Saturday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.